my God. Welcome back to the Phoenix Rise podcast. I'm so freaking excited because we've got the amazing Krista and we've just been chatting for about 50 minutes. We're like, we should probably press record.
Classic us. Yes. Yeah, thank God we pressed record.
Krista, before we do that again and we don't stop ourselves, please introduce yourself to everyone so everyone actually knows who you are before we dive in.
Yes. So I'm Krista Weber, success mentor, at femmeluxelifeco on Instagram. That's the best place to find me. I'm here to help women establish the life of their wildest dreams without negotiating. We're here for defiant success. We're here to know what the rule book is so that we can rip it up and rewrite it for ourselves. I utilize human design. I utilize a lot of shadow work, a lot of shade thrown in the appropriate places, and just literally breaking all the rules. Nothing can stop you. This is what I help my people do.
Freaking love that. All of that. So good. I love it so much. And we just vibe so much because I think we have very, very similar core values. We're just about, forging your own path, staying in your own lane and just creating your whole goddamn industry. Like, yes. I had this epiphany the other day where I was talking a lot about, become the go-to in your industry. And I was like, you don't want to be the go-to. Like, you want to be your own fucking industry.
Yes. I love the way that you said that. Like, don't try to be the best shade of beige in a lineup of beige.
Yes.
Be fucking neon.
Yes.
Like,
I love that analogy. Yeah, that's so great.
Gonna have to put that on a coffee cup. I know. That's it. Like, just and that's you as well. Like, so far outside of the box. Like, and that, like, we're speaking. I've been speaking about this so often these days. But like, what is magnetism really? It's a person who loves themselves so much, accepts themselves so unconditionally that they're willing to be playful, that they're hard to embarrass, that they're willing to color outside of the lines. This is magnetic because when you're safe with yourself, other people feel safe with you. And then you know that no matter what, you've got you, God's got you, the universe has got you. Take the chance. And then that's how you're neon instead of beige.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay, let's go here. We haven't even planned what we're going to talk about. Like, let's go here. Great. I love that because, magnetism is something that we both talk about a lot. And what I find is so many people are scared of other people perceiving them as, too egotistic or too up themselves, as us English would say, too like full of themselves. And it's like, actually, I just know who the fuck I am. Mm-hmm. And I'm not ashamed to own how amazing that person is.
Yes. And this excellence is earned. And excellence, like I was talking about this yesterday in Femme Fatale Foundations, this program that's begun now, 5-week program. Like, Femme Fatale, when people see Femme Fatale, I just so happen to be wearing black and gold. You just so happen, I believe that you're wearing black and red lipstick and what of it? But so like a femme fatale is not about being snobby. It's not about intimidating other people. It's like that phrase, am I intimidating or are you intimidated? That's a them problem. That's not an us problem. So for all of the listeners, all of you bad bitches who are listening, it's not a you problem. It's a them problem. If you're too much, go find less. All of these tropes are true. But here's the beautiful part, because even in expressing it that way, it's a bit defensive, right? It's a bit like, that's a bit coming from the wound. Like, you don't like me, I don't care, I like myself. It can come off as coming from the wound. So here's where the pivot goes, or here's where it goes a little bit deeper. It's that you can let people be in the state that they are, and it doesn't make you love them less, and it doesn't make you love yourself less. Mm-hmm. And this is how pedestals get dissolved. This is how it's not about having weak boundaries and like everybody has access. It's actually about having such healthy boundaries that they don't have to be rigid. They don't have to be weak. It's like becoming a semi-permeable membrane that love can flow in both directions, but you always hold yourself in love and respect and high esteem first.
I love that. And realizing that doesn't take away from anyone else. The fact that you love yourself and that you respect yourself and that you are willing to put your head above the parapet, and you're willing to have those stones thrown at you, because there will be people that throw stones. But the fact that you're willing to do that just goes to show what you're meant for. It goes to show like what you're made of, right? And it goes to show that actually society needs those who are willing to do that. Society
to set the standard.
Society needs like the ones who are willing to shine brighter than everyone else, to show what is possible.
Yeah, to raise the standard, to be unflappable, to be unfuckwithable. But when you're truly embodying that, that means you go and fuck about with life. If you're unfuckwithable, excuse me for all of the swearing, but
I love it.
okay. So like if a person, this is something that gets me sometimes about like the industry, air quotes, the industry personal development. The aim is to excel, right? Like the aim is excellence. The aim is growth and evolution. So therefore, there's a new identity that comes along with whatever it is that you have learned, whatever you have embodied. When you have healed something, you've acknowledged it, you've addressed it. You don't have to disown that part of you, but then you can integrate it, right? Mm-hmm. But then if you believe that you're unfuckwithable, you're like, I am strong and I am the one and I am Beyonce, then go get on that stage, get out there. Then you don't have to hold back, right? And if there's still fear around that, that's okay. Don't judge that. But like, there's another layer that you get to work on. It's okay. So, and it's so interesting when you said people are going to throw stones at you. I've had like such strange confrontations. I'm not an easy person to embarrass. I think that I've always been like that. I'm not sure if it's a Gemini thing, but I'm not really easy. It's also resiliency for sure.
Yeah.
But I remember, so I live in Germany, as you know. This is such a wild story, so please just bear with me. I had a friend actually who was visiting from Scotland and doing like a little city tour, like driving them around, German history, the stuff. Had pulled over. I think we were picking up my daughter from school. A homeless person who was not well, like obviously, like, you know, it was obvious that there was some mental health issues going on. Listen, person walks by my window of the car, walks by the car, spits at me at the window, driver's side window. My reaction, we were having a full-on conversation, my friend and I in the car. We both just kind of like stop. I look and I just don't, I'm like not even phased. I'm like, anyway, and I just continue the conversation with my friend. And then I was just like, that was unusual. And I'm like, that person must be having a day. That person must be having a moment. A man literally spit in my face. If the window was open, it would have been in my face. And I was completely unfazed. I washed the car later, but I was like, that person's having a day. Mm-hmm. How sad for them. Like, I wish that person could get the support that they need. I wish that person had, you know, mental stability and balance. Like, that's a shame that person lived. Like, I had immediate compassion, immediate empathy for this person. That's a shame that this person's in that state. Anyway, just carried on with the conversation. Picked Stella up, driving home, and my friend's like, can't believe you were so chill about that. Like, that's a very weird thing. Has that happened before? I'm like, no, absolutely not. It's just like, but it's just immediately knowing like, that's not a me thing. That's a that person thing. And so this was a wild example, but for those who are being visible in the online space, when you're starting a business or whatever it is that you're doing, or if you're choosing to up-level yourself in your business, in your professional corporate job, or in your personal relationships, if you're married and you're deciding to do the work, in air quotes, the work on yourself, your frequency is going to change. You're going to be shining brighter. Your partner's then going to have to readjust and either accept that and grow with you or not. So you have to be willing to put your head up. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Mm-hmm. And then that's when you have to trust that your resiliency, your self-love, your practices, and the communities that you're a part of, you have to accept. Like, there's no way around it, you guys. There's no way around it.
Oh my God, I love that. And what you said about the spitting. You know what I took from that though, is it's not giving your power away to anything that is outside of you. Like, some people would have responded to that and got really angry and frustrated and let that ruin the rest of their day. Mm-hmm. And when you're in that state, you can't be creative. You're not going to be kind of any use to anyone, including yourself. So as soon as we give our power away, that has power over us. So by you just, it happened. You can't change that it happened. So you have two choices, get on with what you were doing or give your power away to the external situation.
That's right.
And by choosing to stay in your lane, that has no effect on you. And you're able to carry on staying in your power. So
100%.
I've never heard a story like that before, but I love it.
I hope that nobody listening literally relates to that story, but I think that it's a great example. And I remember at the time I mentioned it in a mastermind that I was hosting, and people were like, wait, rewind, like, what the fuck happened to you? And I'm like, man, like, it's not. But let's also go here though for a minute, because big feelings, big triggers are real. I'm going to be really raw. I feel very safe with you. And I feel like your people are my people and we love this podcast. So somebody referred to me as a trophy wife at some point last year. They don't actually know me. And this got back to me. And I tried to kind of laugh it off, but I was like, wait a minute, trophy wife? I'm like, I'm a 39-year-old cancer surviving entrepreneur who started her business during a pandemic, who's raising a child in a foreign country, and I sometimes work 12 to 15 hours a day. Am I a trophy wife? Because I work like a fucking dog. I love what I do, but it hurt. It did hurt. And so that one got me. And then I remember, so this was said to me, kind of, the person who told me kind of was like a little dicey, because they're like, is it a compliment? Because it's like indicating that I'm super hot, which may be true, but still hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I need to go just like explore this a little bit. And I excused myself, did some journaling in a shadow journal. And I'm like, why does this hurt? And I realized, so like, and I'm saying this because sometimes things will happen that legitimately do need our attention.
Yeah.
And we have to pay attention to our body wisdom for when that is. Because if we go into our responses, either the masculine response of like, fuck it, I don't care, I'm gonna be fine, soldier, keep moving, like that, which I'm familiar with that. Or hyper feminine wounding, where you spiral and cry for 10 days and can't do anything, can't talk to anybody, have to talk to everybody about the problem. Like, we want to find the middle ground. We want to actually go to the nucleus and the genesis of the situation. So you got to pay attention to that body wisdom. If your body is pumping the brakes, like, no, this hurts, like there's actually something here. Then then it's a time to do a deep exploration. What does this remind me of? When have I felt like this before? What have I seen before? And then for me, it was like, am I not seen and recognized for my accomplishments? Am I being disregarded? Because I am damn proud of the work and the business that I've built and the work that I do. But I realized that it went even deeper to like childhood wounding of being good enough, like being good enough. What will it take for me to be good enough that I'm not just like a head of blonde hair and a couple of green eyes and long legs, There's a lot more to it. And that was really interesting. The journaling was very helpful. And then, of course, talking to coaches and mentors, like talking to my support network about it. But like sometimes somebody's going to spit in your face or throw a rock at you. Sometimes you are going to have to go deep and see, why does this hurt? And then when you do that, you emerge even more self-aware, even more compassionate to yourself, even more in your power. So we just have to say that too. Sometimes we do have to explore.
I absolutely love that. And I think you're more of an expert on human design than I am, but so I'm a line 3/6. So I know my whole line 3 is literally about going through those situations and coming out the other side and learning what I needed to learn so that I can help other people navigate their own way through it. And for me, that has been a lot of alchemization and a lot of triggers and a lot of shadow work and a lot of like the deep kind of inner exploration and finding out, why is this still coming up?
Why
like
me?
7 years later.
But even like so you're a 3/6. Okay, so then, and like, so during your Saturn return and before your Saturn return, so you were actually living as like a 3/3/3, because the 6 has different seasons of life.
Okay.
Before the Saturn return, the 6 feels more like a 3. So then you're just like banging into everything, getting all of the cuts and bruises, and be like, it's interesting because the 3 line is like a human lie detector, because she has actually done it. She has actually done it. She's seen it. You cannot pull the wool over her eyes. She cannot be hoodwinked. She's done it before, and she's got the scars to prove it. So it's a beautiful design. And then when it evolves into the full 6, like the role model, and it's like the desire to see humans do well.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, you guys, we can do better. I know that you can do it. So I love to see you as a 3/6. It also has a lot of soulmate energy. Do you know that?
No.
It's a very harmonious profile.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of soulmate energy. So it's really beautiful. Like it longs for that completion. It's like such a cozy homecoming. Like the 6 energy is just such a beautiful, well, it's the exemplary human, right? So it's a very magnetic thing when the person is in their lane. So that makes sense to me because I know you.
I love that so much. And what I wanted to kind of go into with that was the whole that when we get triggered and when these things happen to us. So I'll just give an example. So for me, last year was like a whole year of just learning and like it was constant. It felt like constant trigger after trigger after trigger, because I wasn't exploring the core, I wasn't getting to the root. I was just putting the plaster on the brain every time and never kind of digging deep enough. And for me, it was a lot around sister wounds and and around just never feeling like part of the tribe, never feeling kind of accepted and good enough. And again, stems to childhood. But I always had yearned for that tribe, and I have the tribal wave as well in my design. I had always yearned for that tribe, and also to be the leader of that tribe, because I've always been the kind of leader of the pack, as it were. And I had been cop blocking myself all of these years because I'd never kind of dived into this wound. And so the triggers would come and they would come and they would come and they would come until I finally realized, okay, this is a pattern. Like, this is happening already. Like, I need to dive into this. And when I did, and I actually done something, I don't know whether people would suggest it or not, but I actually contacted the people from my childhood who, not that I had felt done me wrong, but they were part of the puzzle. And it was kind of like a door that I just wanted to close, And so I just said my piece with love and light and kindness, but also with kind of the conviction. The conviction, of being like, this happened for me. I know it wasn't meant out of spite, but it's real for me. And I just want to kind of let you know.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
I think like when you feel guided to do that, like good for you for leaning into that. Good for you for following that intuition. Because sometimes I think a lot of people who have had impacts like that on people in the past, they have so much like shame and guilt, and they never get a chance. And they wouldn't necessarily have the guts to reach out, unless they're in like a 12-step program to reach out and like make amends. So I think it's healing for everybody. I'm just getting a flash right now of like healing karmic wounds in like multi-generational karmic wounds. Whoa, I'm just getting such a flash right now. I am a channeling healer as well. And I'm just getting such a whoosh right now of like you being the one who's breaking the generational curse.
Goosebumps.
Full goosebumps. So good. Yeah. And you're a 3/6 generator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So closing those doors, and you're a mother. So that's amazing. Good for you.
Thank you. And it's very interesting. Let's just dive into this for a minute, because I'm sure someone needs to hear it. So it's really interesting because very recently, in the last month or so, I've done the same with my ex, which was a 15-year abusive relationship. We've been separated for 4 years, and I very recently kind of obviously he's the dad of my kids, right? So he's been in their lives, but I haven't had contact with him for 4 years. And recently I let him back into my life on a term of we can co-parent, like I'm at a point now where I am a different person and I know who I am, and I'm never going to be that victim again. But anyway, so when I made that decision, I said, if we're going to do this, like, we need to have a conversation. Like, we need to have a conversation. Again, not with any kind of real point to it, but of me saying what needed to be said about things that happened, and just being like, I know you can't turn back the clock, I know that you're very sorry and whatever, but this was real for me. And this has taken me 4 years of fucking healing and like deep work to get to this strength now. I want you to know that I will never ever get back with you, but I am happy to co-parent with you and to even be friends to a point. But and so it's very interesting that this has just come up, because for me, alchemization has been a massive part of my journey and of how I help others in in overcoming their past hurdles and their past traumas and their past mountains, and actually using it as their movement and stepping into, okay, well, I'm not going to be the victim forever. So how can I use it as fuel and as power to now help others?
Yeah. And that's so, it makes so much sense, because like your root chakra, then, like, I'm sure over the years, like, you've been healing your root, you've been healing your sacral, rolling up, like healing your solar plexus, your brightness. And it makes so much sense that now at this time that you chose to have this conversation, because that's your throat chakra, speaking the truth, setting the boundaries, and doing it in a way that it's not meant as an attack, and it's not even for a quid pro quo. It's not even like doing this to get anything, but it's just like, FYI, this is the truth. This is how it is. I see you as a whole person, and this is me as a whole person. That's very throat chakra. And I love that you leaned into that, and it makes sense. Your magnetism as a woman and as a business owner and as a leader, your warmth, your heart, because your throat chakra is the bridge between your highest self, your highest timeline, and your body's moves of bringing that timeline into reality. So this is the thing of quantum leaping, and it's having the courage to do that, and again being like, I'm actually okay no matter what. And like, you know, knowing, so if we want to go there, it's like, would you be the person that you are had it not been for the wisdom gained in those wounds? So in a freaky way, it's like, it's even once at a healed point. I have an abusive ex in my past. Thank goodness we were not married, but we were engaged, and like the audacity of this person, like, but I won't spill all of that tea here. But that was in my 20s. But I wasn't able to address it. I wasn't able to really speak about it. I had to do so much of the healing work on myself to now come to, like, eventually to have come to a place of neutrality, and also even to extend gratitude, to be like, I would not know love. I would not know stability. I would not know my worth unless there had been people who had shown me the opposite of that. Yeah. And then this brings it to another level of like soul contracts. So if each of us are players in this game of life, then like, you're the villain in somebody's story too. So am I, for sure. For sure. We're all the villain in somebody's story. We're the protagonist in our own, hopefully. But we all come to kind of play characters. And so people have a soul contract. We have a role to play. We choose each other based on trauma transference of our brain becomes Shakespeare, and they're like, let me cast the characters of this play in my mind so that I can relive this traumatic situation and create a different ending. This is a pattern, create a different result. So it could be working at a place where the boss reminds you so much of your mean grandma, or working at a place where your manager reminds you of that teacher who belittled you when you were in grade 5. So it's these kind of things. These people have no fucking idea the role that you've cast them in their brain, and they have done the same to you, and you have no idea what roles those are. So this is why compassion, self-awareness, curiosity, responsibility, and then action. This is how we take our power back. This is how we stay in our power. And then at the highest level, and you'll love this with your 6th line, at the highest level is nothing but unconditional love. And gratitude is a shade of unconditional love. So to the villains of our lives, I'm not saying for people to just listen to this podcast and be like, I'm going to go be grateful for that asshole. No, do the work, feel it with your body. But there will come a time, perhaps, hopefully it's possible that there is a time that's like, I'm grateful for that experience. I'm grateful for what I learned. I take responsibility for some extent of choosing that. I acknowledge that my unconscious mind chose it for some reason. I'm grateful I got out, and I truly wish that person the best with neutrality, because I am stable, I am good, I am autonomous, etc. So it's like, it's such a process. So really good for you for all of that hardcore work. Good for you. Yes.
You can have a counseling session there.
No, it's bravery. It's bravery and it's transformation. You're walking the talk.
Yeah. And do you know what, as well, it's so true about the personal power, because as long as we are harboring those ill feelings towards another, whatever it's for, right? Whether it's business, personal life, like anything, it's power that we don't have because we've given it away to an external force outside of ourselves. So, you know, this is primarily a selfish thing to do.
Self-serving. Yeah.
Because it's about bringing back all of you, every bit that you've given to someone else, bringing it back, reclaiming for the whole part of you and coming back to that wholeness. I love that so much. What I wanted to touch on quickly there was when we were talking about when we're having the triggers and when we're doing the healing, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, Krista, is when we're in the midst of it, we will attract people into our lives, and I'm talking primarily business here, but we will attract the audience or the clients who are also victims of their own story. So whilst we're a victim, we will attract other people with that same mentality. And this is what I found a lot kind of early last year, the back end of whatever year it was before that. I was attracting people who were also struggling. They were also victims, but they were not at a point where they wanted the same thing that I wanted. They were in that hole, if you like. And I think there's a level of, you know, people want that kind of sister bonding support where we kind of are all martyrs together and we all just kind of trauma bond together. But then there's also a point of like, okay, I've had my little weepy session and now I'm ready to like move the fuck on with my life and like actually live what I'm here to do. And, you know, I've got places to go. I've got people to see, like I've got a legacy to live. Like I need to kind of woman up.
Gotta move.
And when we make that decision to move, and I think you touched on this earlier, is we will leave people behind. We will leave communities, we will leave relationships, we will leave friendships, we will leave clients who are no longer in alignment with us. And it's that shedding, that releasing to make space for the new.
And it's so important to be, again, like I have few rules. I don't have many, but I have a few. But the ones that are omnipresent are responsibility and curiosity. So, and this is such a good, like, even if everything is fine, like, even if everything is great, it's still so good. It's such a good and rewarding practice to be like, okay, why does it feel so good? Why does it feel so great? What can I take responsibility for and own that has contributed to things feeling so great? So it doesn't always have to be shade. It can be like, I'm curious, like, what is working so well? La, la, la. That is fantastic. When there's a pattern that's repeating, curiosity or responsibility, what is going on? What is the truth? I call that the Hemingway rule. My clients will know what I'm talking about. But like Hemingway has a certain way of writing where he just writes the truth. I edit novels as a hobby, by the way, and scientific manuscripts. It's one of my Manny Gen quirks.
Put that on very well.
It's one of my Manny Gen quirks. But like, just write the truth. What is true? And then people who desire to stay in the wound, this is a two-way street of responsibility. So the content creator, the business owner, content creator has to then be curious and responsible. Who am I writing this content to? Who is this writing speaking to? So let's say, for example, if somebody wants to attract high-ticket clients, but you're talking to beginner problems, then it's going to be invisible to high-level clients. So, and then you have to be willing to say things that are going to be triggering to those who are still in the midst of the climb and they're not quite there yet. Like, what are rich people problems? What are high level problems? Like, gosh, I can't find another personal assistant because mine got pregnant. Darn. Oh, my housekeeping people, I have to set boundaries with them because they only want to come at 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, those are some like next level lifestyle problems, but they're problems nonetheless. So we have to be responsible. Who am I speaking to? Now we have to be curious. Why am I speaking that way? And then ask ourselves, am I using my platform as a Dear Diary situation? Because then like we're the author. Why are we doing it like this then? And there's even another sneaky little sub-level here. If a person has sisterhood wounds, people love to pile on with complaining. They love it. People love, oh, me too. And then one up each other. Oh God, that happened to me too. Oh, but mine was worse. Oh, but mine was, oh, but yours was, let's cry together. And let's braid our hair. And then, no, we have to. And it's, what a great way to find community, you know? And it's a little tougher, as we said before. Sometimes it can be a little tougher to be the one who like pokes your head up high and be like, you know what, I'm going to move beyond this. So it takes some bravery to do this. So you have to ask, what's the motivation behind this? What's the secondary benefit that I'm getting from this? And if the pattern feels hard to break, guess what the solution is? More curiosity, because shit stops smelling the longer that you sit in it, right? So if it's not changing, whose job is that, right? So it's really interesting. And then being willing to, like, even creating the story, although it does happen, but it doesn't have to happen in a bad way. Like, remember when you're little and you're getting taller, do you feel bad for your jeans that don't fit anymore? You're like, I'm so sorry, jeans. I didn't mean to why did I drink all that milk?
Like, I don't want to grow out these.
Why did I eat all of that protein? Why am I so gosh darn healthy? I shouldn't have been growing so fast. I'm so sorry, jeans, forgive me. Like, we're gonna grow. That's the point, right? But even to create the story, or to believe the story, to feed the story that like, I'm gonna outgrow people, it's gonna hurt. No, because there's other people to fit those jeans. There's a shoe for every foot. Yeah. Like, it's okay. Like, you're safe to grow. Because there are going to be so many people who are celebrating, clapping for you. People have been waiting for you. If only I could see somebody like this. And for the others, there's another pair of jeans for them. There's another room for them. That's okay. And then at some point, everything happens in divine timing, exactly when it's meant to, exactly when it's supposed to. Even if somebody's triggered by something, how dare she? How dare she raise her prices? How dare she reduce her working hours? What do you mean she only works 3 days a week? What do you mean she's not going to respond after 6 p.m. local time? How dare she have a life and feed her child? How dare she? But like, so that's you're setting an example for them of like, you get to have boundaries too.
Yes.
Grow too.
Oh my God, so much yes to this. Yeah.
So much yes.
So much yes. Because, and what I want to say on the back here, and then we'll finish up quickly, is, you know, when you do heal all of that and you come out the other side and you are brave enough to leave behind and to step into the new, your new tribe will find you. And when we go back to the magnetism, it's all in your frequency, right? And I say this so much, because obviously a lot of what I do is based on kind of Instagram and socials and branding and that kind of stuff, but it's not about your followers and it's not about your likes, it's about your frequency.
Yes.
And that is what will magnetize your aligned people.
Yes.
Your aligned people. So if you're vibrating at a low frequency, those are the people that you will magnetize. And if you're vibrating at a higher frequency, those are the people that you will magnetize. But it all comes down to you and who you believe yourself to be.
Mm-hmm. Right? And what are you going to fuck up today? What are you going to what's the, I like to ask myself a couple days a week, like, what am I going to fuck up today in a good way? And I don't mean fuck up, like as make a mistake, but like, what can I reinvent? What are the edges that I can test? And I check, sometimes I just do an audit. I do this a couple times a month where I just do like a little audit of what's going on. Okay. Like, what's my posting schedule like? What's my content like? What am I selling? What am I offering? What am I loving? And what's giving me the like, it doesn't have to be a full ick, but like, what's giving me the meh, you know? And then any
interest in it, right? Because we can ignore it for longer.
Yeah, that's true. So it's just, so the more that you keep yourself out of the meh, and it's like, I also call this going alien mode, where it's like, if you just got here, if you just got plopped into your body and like, you just got here, these are your friends, these are your clients, this is your business, this is what you do, these are your prices, this is what it is. If you just got here, completely neutral, nothing to gain, nothing to lose, where would all of the hot yeses be? And where would the, wait, what? Like, why is that like that? What would that be? Mm-hmm. And then, so doing this, like, go alien mode, do a little audit, bravely. You can't get it wrong. Like my workbooks, when I have courses and stuff, I put people through shit in those workbooks. And I always have to say, it's just you and the paper. Nobody has to know. But the deeper that you're willing to go, you're going to live in that hot yes. And that's where that's where your magnetism, and people are like, where have you been all my life? Like, this is revolutionary. I've never heard of, and thank fucking God you decided to be neon instead of another shade of beige.
Yes.
Right?
I am so using that phrase.
Trademark. I'm taking 10%. We gotta make merch. We need merch.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
I would have sleeping masks. Do you know that I'm a sleep diva? I have like 6 different sleeping masks for different occasions.
I find them really claustrophobic.
Not if they're silk. I'll send you a link. But like, I just know, like, merch, Femlux merch needs to happen. You need merch as well. We do it.
Yeah, we should do a co-brand. Oh, Krista, this is so amazing. I knew it would be. I don't even know what we're going to call this. We explored so many different areas. Like, who knows?
I don't know. Oh my gosh. It was such an amazing conversation. It always is. It's such a pleasure to be in your energy. It's such a pleasure to speak with you. You're such, the word that always comes to mind is passion and joy but wisdom. Like your passion is grounded in wisdom and authority. And it gives an air of safety to play and to create. And so you're such a gift to your community. And I'm sure that you feel celebrated by the sister tribes that you're in and the ones that you're cultivating and curating. And this is just the beginning. I just have to say, it's just going to get better and better. Just have to say that.
Thanks, babe. That's my double Virgo and my Leo.
Oh, I love that for you.
The grounding and then the play.
Yes. Oh, it's perfect.
Krista, I know you said at the beginning, but can you just remind everyone the best place to find you? We'll put it in the show notes as well.
Absolutely. So the best place is Instagram at femmeluxelifeco. Lux has an E on the end, so I'm not pronouncing it the French way, but that is the best way to find me, to follow me. We have a lot of fun, so come on and join and see what's going on in the Femlux world, and we're gonna keep fucking shit up in the best way.
Oh, love it. Amazing. And make sure you go and give Krista a follow, drop me or her a DM and let us know your thoughts on the podcast. We hope it landed for you, and we'll see you all soon.